Palmer, when you take this spring game, but not just the spring game, the entire spring session and everything that came out in regards to what Kirby Smart, the other coaches, the players had to say, what you were able to gather in your own coverage and looking at other people's work and the video that came out. And would there be a player or two or three, wherever you want to take that did themselves a lot of good this spring, or other storylines or themes that jumped out that either became a highlight or a concern or something else that you feel different about this football team today than you did a month ago?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think definitely the developments of the wide receiver room is something that Georgia fans maybe feel a little bit differently about, maybe a little more hesitation, going into the season without George Pickens than when they were entering spring with him. But I think in terms of a player that really took advantage of that opportunity, I mentioned Adonai Mitchell. I'm coming out of spring incredibly high on him. Just in terms of replacing Pickens and, as an early enrollee, making a name for himself early on. He's a guy that I think really helped himself. But I'm going to go a different direction here and talk about the defensive backs, because I think that's a story that, there was a lot of questions coming into spring about how those defensive backs would look. And I think there's still some questions to be answered there. Maybe that's something that, I think that's an area that Georgia could target in the transfer portal. If they've got Tyke Smith coming in from West Virginia, he'll probably end up playing the star position. He's more of a safety type than, an outside defensive back, playing at corner. But, in terms of the guys that they have here, I think Jalen Kimber, really made some progress this spring. Kelee Ringo continues to develop. Amir Speed is a guy that, I think a lot of Georgia fans, knew the name because he's been around the program for a long time, but I don't think anybody really expected him to be, the guy. I think Kelee Ringo is probably the guy that people turned to and said, hey, pencil him in as a starter this fall. Well, not so fast. Ringo, is continuing to develop, but you've got Kimber and Speed there that are giving him, a run for his money in terms of a starting spot at corner. I think those three guys are likely to be rotating at corner this fall, unless Georgia goes out and gets someone out of the transfer portal there, which I think is certainly likely. And I think along the lines of the transfer portal, you could see Georgia targeting a wide receiver there as well. If they've got 2 spots left in terms of initial counters and transfer spots, obviously things change when guys transfer out of the program. But I think, in terms of scholarships opening up, but I think, those are 2 positions that Georgia is likely to target in the portal based on the developments of this spring.